Welcome at home with Stacy and Courage, where you will find me busy creating clean products, preserving, planning delicious, nutritious meals for my friends and family. This step is not mandatory, but knowing me, I will definitely do it because I want to go the extra mile. Now, I am starting off by simply cutting a butternut squash into manageable pieces. And butternut squash is very difficult to cut because it is so hard, but it is so sweet and so flavorful. It's actually one of my favorite squash. I am removing the seeds from this and I'm putting them on my tray and I'm going to roast these. Now, do not throw your seeds away. You can pop these in the freezer and whenever you're ready to make a delicious stock, you could actually use these with some onion garlic saute and you can actually make a delicious stock to use in many recipes. Now that we have enhanced the flavors in our squash, let us go ahead and roast our nuts and do not miss this step. Roasting adds crunch and it adds a depth of flavor to this recipe. Grease your pan and let us start working on our dry ingredients. Sorry for the plastic bag, I had excess flour. I popped it in the bag because I was running out the door. Make sure to sift your baking soda, add your salt as well as your baking powder and give this a good whisk. I love whisking instead of sifting and give everything a good whisk. Of course, the ingredients will be throughout the video. Now let's start working on our wet ingredients. That pumpkin that we roasted. We are going to be using some sour cream in this recipe, of course, some sugar. And these eggs, all three eggs turned out to be twin eggs. I am using three large eggs. These were straight from the farm. Oh my God, I have been loving the fresh eggs. Give everything a nice mix, and we have many ways of mixing this. You can use a hand mixer, you can use a stand mixer, you can use a food processor, you can use a blender. I am using a immersion blender. Whatever you have that blends, you blend. The goal is just to get everything nice and smooth. That is really the goal. So you don't have to fuss about the mixing. Now we're going to melt a stick of butter. This is optional. I'm going to add some ginger. You know I love adding ginger to everything. I am a West Indian woman. I am adding some pumpkin spice. I blended this just before this video. And I'm also going to add some cinnamon as well, just to add more flavor. Now that everything has been nicely melted, I am going to pour that into my dry ingredients. We are still, oh God, did I say dry? Wet ingredients. We are still working on our wet ingredients. And we're going to give everything a nice mix. Now, you want to add, again, this is optional, add a little bit of molasses. Since I don't have dark brown sugar, add some molasses, more depth of flavor. Listen, I just play with my cooking. All I know is that everything has to taste good. Of course, our nuts has been roasted. Now we're going to chop this. Do not miss this step. Do not miss the step to roast your nuts. It adds so much flavor. I didn't know this, but once I know, I am not going back. Now we're going to combine both wet and dry ingredients and make sure that everything is well combined. Don't overmix, but just mix enough for it to be well combined. I use my whisk and I just give everything a little whisk in there. Okay? I need you to try this recipe and leave a comment below. Let me know. Tag me on Instagram, something. It is such an easy recipe, but it is so delicious. And when you're eating this recipe, you don't taste any sugar at all. Once everything is combined, add your nuts and just kind of wrap that in there. Okay? So you notice I didn't leave a grain of nuts on the board, right? I added everything. So just kind of wrap that in the batter. That way it is combined in there and it gets, everywhere you want it to get. And now we're going to pour this into our mold. Now you could have used you could have used a baking pan, or sorry, a loaf pan for this because this wasn't enough batter to raise as high. So the next time I think I definitely will use a loaf pan. So you can use a loaf pan. My bun pan is quite large, so I don't think it was enough to fill it up, but nonetheless, we tear this thing up. It was delicious. Now, make sure there is none left. Make sure there is none left. But just knock on your pan a bit just to remove any excess air bubble. And I bake this for about 50 to 60 minutes on 325 degrees. You don't want to bake this on high. This need, some time in the oven. And it was delicious. It freezes well. I tried freezing it, but it only make it in the fridge for like 2 days. And it was delicious. I'm definitely making this again. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the kitchen in a bit. Talk to you later. Bye.